heard that too. First started.
Good evening and welcome to our March meeting of the Greencastle Common Council. I would ask all to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, welcome everyone. Linda, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Adam Cohen.
Here.
Counselor Stacy Langdon. Here. Counselor Steve Fields.
Here.
Counselor Tyler Wade.
Here.
Counselor Mark Hammer. Counselor Gary Lemon.
Here.
Counselor Dave Murray.
First item of business is public petitions and comments for anything that is not already on the agenda. So, Officer Bunton, if you want to come up and introduce yourself, and I understand you have a little project you're working on?
Yeah, I'm Officer Bunton with the Greencastle Police Department, for those of you who don't know me. And I tried to print out everybody to have their own. This is, I'd like to talk to you guys about our Putnam County Fraternal Order of Police Flag Day. So thank you. This is an annual event that we have. This is actually our 5th annual event. And we've been having it at the DePaul Nature Park. The reason I'm here is basically our attendance is down. We're trying to increase our participation. So we come up with the idea of having a change of venue. And with that change of venue, we chose Roban Park. So to make that possible, I've talked with Rod. I've given him the same thing that you guys have now. So we're going to be, he's granted us the use of the park without any issues. Said everything looked good. Wanted me to present it to you guys and get your blessing. So we didn't have a map, so I went on one of our running apps and tracked it out for you. It's an out and back course, leaving the park and going down, leaving the south end of the park on Tennessee Street to Wood Street to Seminary. We're going to have an officer staged up at Bloomington and Seminary to block traffic. Then they'll go down to Locust, I believe it is, and then go around to Olive Street and back to Locust and to Seminary and then back to the park. So we usually have a full-blown hog roast with all the fixings, a band, or not a band, a DJ, and this event is timed, like it's professionally timed. So we hire a timing guy to come in and time it for us. That helps draw in some participants. But basically, in the past, our complaint has been that the nature park is too tough. It's too tough of a course. So I said, well, we'll try to ease it up a little bit and get a street course. So we thought, well, maybe like the 4th of July run, the Micro Kiki run, it's the same course.
Okay.
So that's it. The registration form is what you have before you. I've included on that registration form the waiver liability release for the city as a whole, the police department, the FOP, and the Parks Department, just to cover the bases. So if you want to give that a read through and make sure it looks okay, I think we've got all the bases covered.
Yeah, we'll have Lori check it out. The only question I would have you had a chance to talk with folks over at DePaul? Because I believe that's graduation weekend.
I was under the impression that graduation, I talked to DePaul and they said it was the following week.
Oh, following week? Okay, good, all right.
So, yeah. In the past, it has been on graduation weekend.
Since we're on TV, we have this in front of us, but you might explain, it seems to me a very worthwhile cause where the funds are going to go that you're going to raise.
So what this is our proceeds go to the Indiana chapter of the Fraternal Order of Police. And then when a law enforcement officer an Indiana law enforcement officer is killed in line of duty, then basically, the Indiana chapter helps with the family that's grieving. So they'll pay for the student, the kids that are still in school. They'll help cover some basic living costs, that sort of thing. So that's
Okay.
basically what our cause is for.
Certainly timely now.
Yeah.
You might mention too, we have a website for the people at home, www.pcleo5k.com,
Yes.
pcleo5k.com.
Yes.
Where they can register, correct?
Yep, you can go to that website, that's our FOP website, to register for the race. And then also you can go to eventbrite.com, and just look up Putnam County Fraternal Order of Police, and it should come up. So it's relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, it is.
We're charging $20, is enough to try to help out a little bit, have a good time while we're doing it. So try to keep everybody in shape.
Resolution for this, do we? We're not closing any streets, so we don't need a.
No, there won't be any closures that would temporarily block traffic there at Bloomington and Seminary. So, and that's something that we've done in the past.
Maybe we can, as council, advertise it within our business and other communities that we operate in as well. So, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Normally, I would ask, is the police department vetted this? But
Yeah. I almost asked Tom if he wanted to say if it was okay, but.
I move that the request be granted.
Second.
We have a motion to, and a second to approve the request as presented. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, if you guys put a poster out or a flyer, let us know, we'll get, keep them here at City Hall as well.
Okay. All
Thanks.
right. Yep, thank you.
We have a gentleman from DePaul.
No, you can go around the street closing.
My name's Andrew Byerly, and I'm a member of the Little Five organization at DePaul University. We're not requesting a street closure at this meeting, but the April meeting. Right now, we just want to say that we plan on having the same street closure meetings, and then I also want to ask if there's any concerns. This time.
What's the date for Little Five?
April 28th and 29th.
You say you're not asking for a closure at this
We,
point?
at the April meeting.
It's kind of like a preemptive warning to us, they're coming.
Okay.
I don't recall any problems last year. It was 2 years ago when it shifted, we had some issues, but I don't recall any.
The only thing we typically ask is that you, if there's property owners other than DePaul University that's impacted, that you contact them and give them a heads up as to what's going on. So we'll look forward to having you come pay us a visit next month then.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public petitions or comments for items not on the agenda? Okay, hearing none, we have a special recognition this evening. So I'll call Tom and John up and turn the floor over to them.
Mayor, members of the council, members of the community, I'd like to thank you for being here tonight. On February 20th, 2018, at approximately 5:28 p.m., the Greencastle Fire Department and Greencastle City Police were dispatched to a structure fire at 20 Fraser Street. Shortly after both departments arrived on the scene, the homeowner, Marie Tippin, re-entered her burning home in an attempt to save her 3 dogs, which were still trapped in the burning residence. Seconds after she entered her burning home, Mrs. Tippin was overcome with smoke. She was able to make it to a window, and that is when the quick response of a firefighter and police officer saved her life. Lieutenant Brock Beebe, K-9 Officer Kyle Lee were able to work quickly in grabbing her through the window and pulling her out to safety. Ms. Tippin's animals were also found alive and rescued by the Greencastle firefighters. Today we are here to recognize both Lieutenant Brock Beebe, K-9 Officer Kyle Lee, for their going above and beyond the call of duty, working quickly and together to make sure Marie Tippin was pulled to safety from her burning home. Without their quick response, Ms. Tippin could have been seriously hurt or even fatally injured in this fire. Today we recognize and honor those 2 members of the Greencastle Emergency Services.
Today, we recognize these two members of the Greencastle Emergency Services. It was a great relief on the evening of February the 20th, 2018, that all emergency services got to go home, and they were able to save Mrs. Tippin and all of her family get out that night. However, it saddens me to say that our family of blue in Boone County Sheriff's Department is making preparations to lay arrest one of their own. Deputy Jacob Pickett laid his life on the line for the safety and protection of his community as he chased a wanted subject on March the 2nd, 2018. During the foot pursuit, Deputy Jacob Pickett was fatally wounded by the suspect he was chasing. And if you've seen any of the news, which it's been covering a lot of the news, the gentleman, and I hesitate to call him a gentleman, but the person who took the life of Deputy Jacob Pickett stated to the news camera that he has no remorse for what he did. So I would ask you the next day or two to keep the Boone County Sheriff's Department, the Pickett family in your thoughts and prayers. Mayor, and if you would allow me to do so, I would like for all of us to take a moment of silence to remember the Boone County Sheriff's Department and the Pickett family. Thank you. I'd like once again to commend Lieutenant Brock Beebe and Canine Officer Kyle Lee for their actions taken on February the 20th of 2018. Once again, I would like to thank everyone who came out, and I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, City Mayor and City Council.
Brock and Kyle, great work. These two gentlemen are part of a great team that we have in our public safety, and they do a great job working together. You know, that's one of the nice things about living in a small community where all of us know each other. Each of our teams support each other, and we're very fortunate that things worked out so well that evening. It could have been quite the tragedy otherwise. So thanks to Kyle and Brock, and thanks to all of you that make up part of our public safety team. Thank you. Next item of business on our agenda this evening are our special requests. We have several. The first is a street closure request from Greencastle Presbyterian Church and Big Bounce Funhouse.
Correct.
So welcome.
Thank you, Mayor.
And this is kind of a multi-evening request.
That's right. Thank you, council members. My name is Wes Kendall. I'm the pastor at Greencastle Presbyterian Church, and we are requesting the street closure for the second Saturday events. So an idea that came from Andy and Susan Lorimer, owners of Big Bounce Funhouse. We were sensing the energy that was building on First Fridays, and we wanted to offer something that was very much like that, but was also family friendly. So we did 3 of those events, I believe, last year. Very much a success, and thank you for your willingness to partner with us in that. So the hope is to do that again, and like we did last year, to use that blockage in that part of the street, that we would have an entertainer during the first portion of the evening, as well as a bounce house, some popcorn, and then after that to have a movie that's playing so that members of the community can come, enjoy that, and then also bring people downtown to enjoy the new businesses. So I believe the forms are there. I've also been informed that, yes, if we will have somebody that will purchase the porta potty, because I believe we had about 150 or so the last couple times we did it. So questions or?
Well, thank you for doing it for the beginning. As a start, all the family and kid-friendly things we can do in Greencastle, it's a real plus for me. The only concern I have is that we have another request tonight for Alumni Weekend.
Right.
It's also the second Saturday in June, and given what it means to Greencastle to have all those alums back in town, and they did that last year, what I'd like to do is talk about where we might do it alternatively, and we still be able to have facility, but not in that space. The Claw grads are coming back and experiencing that block on Alumni Weekend, and I know more than one of them who have now purchased property and businesses in Greencastle and Putnam County as a result of that. And I think that's a place that DePaul has invested very heavily in. So at times, I'd like to make an exception for something else that, do we still do it that night, but in an alternative location is my question for discussion by the council.
And we talked about that, and I think on Tuesday night, we realized that that was alumni weekend that very night. So Andy and Susan, I believe last year, we moved one of them to Roban Park, or we moved it to a different location, and we would be more than comfortable doing it for that evening. Yeah, so I think that makes complete sense.
And I guess the question for the council is, if you approve something like this for all the way through October, are there other situations that might come up? And would you be open to talking? I have no idea what they'd be.
Well, we do that though for the farmer's market, we do that for First Fridays, we project all the way out with the hopes that if something else comes up, that they're gonna work, that they'll work together. Is DePaul here tonight for their? Okay, I saw a hand go, okay,
The farmer's market's on a Saturday morning.
right.
What we're talking about is prime
No.
places for bands and entertainment.
But I'm saying you don't know what could come up. I just, yeah. I mean, I would hope, I'm not disagreeing, I just hope that any group, well, you're probably right, but I'd hope that any group understands that when we project out for months, like First Friday, we can't always make absolutes, I guess, as everyone leaves us.
Duty calls. I think we're very much understanding that, and we're very appreciative that First Fridays is bringing that energy along with other events. And if something else comes up, I think we completely understand that there'll be other things that will take precedence, so.
With that, I move that the,
I got,
trustee approve.
I got a question here. I'm looking at the one that says June the 9th, which is a Saturday. Second. Date that I had, that we have on, that I have here, say, yeah, on this form says June the 9th. That's a
I think,
Saturday.
Steve, one of the things that, I think DePauw's party is gonna be on Friday night.
Friday night, the block
But then
party.
I think there's gonna be some other activities with some of the restaurants on that block that, they may not close the street per se, but I think they've got some more adult kinds of activities going on.
That was my question. I'm looking here, 8th and 9th, and that's,
Yep, good question.
that's what I questioned, okay. So basically, we're looking at DePaul actually needing access to that area on the 8th and the 9th.
I don't know specifically about DePaul for the 9th, but I think because of the number of alumni that'll be in town that weekend, there may be some things forthcoming from the businesses in that block.
Okay, all right,
So I think
sure.
they're still in the works a little bit.
okay.
If DePaul follows its normal format that weekend, a lot of alums will go downtown, and I think, you know, frankly, we want them to go downtown and
Right,
and
I
spend-
understand that. I just wanted to make sure we weren't
Yeah,
conflicting here.
As long as you're flexible, I think we're.
Yeah, we're fine.
Very much so.
and we appreciate you doing this, because family-friendly stuff.
Yeah,
So
it's
needed.
great. Really good.
So Dave's made a motion to approve the request, and then we'll
I'll second it.
make some alternates for the June opportunity. And who was the second?
I'll second.
Adam? So we have a motion and a second for the request by Greencastle Presbyterian Church and Big Bounce Funhouse. Is there any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye. Aye. Okay, great, thanks. We'll get you some paperwork.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council.
Okay, next up is Brian Cox, who's got a new role as the Chamber Director to represent DePaul today, as well as the Chamber, so he's got all three of the next ones here.
I do. So, I don't know if the council is aware, Main Street and the Chamber are working together to bring some kind of set of rules for when people close the streets downtown, and we'll bring them to city council and ask for you guys to look them over. But they're going to bring out porta potties, which I think is great, but we need to make sure that when somebody closes down the road, if they're gonna have X number of people, then they need to have X facilities to take care of those people. We don't want our businesses having to feel the brunt of that. So we're working on that, and we'll bring it forward as soon as possible. I'm here to speak for DePaul, and first looks like they have a noise ordinance. They're going to have a block party, basically, for their alumni down there on Indiana Street. From between Washington and Walnut. They'll have some bands playing. The bands will go till 11 o'clock. I think 10 o'clock is kind of the noise ordinance. So they're asking permission to go ahead and go to 11. The street closure for that night is from, I believe it's from 4 to midnight. They will not play to midnight, but that gives an opportunity for them to clean up after the party. So I'll field the questions on that and answer it to the best of my abilities. The way it looked to me like last year that it went, it was very positive. It got a lot of the alumni downtown, and once the alumni got downtown, they were very impressed with what has been done down there. So you guys should be very proud of what the city's doing.
I thought last year was great in that it was a mix of both alumni and our community.
Yeah.
I hope we can continue that. I guess the only question I ever have, and this is more a general one, because I think these things are great. We always talk about the direction of noise. You know, especially when we talk about events on campus, pointing the speakers back into campus. I've noticed when we go downtown that we set the speakers and they point towards the courthouse square and then project up into the north side neighborhoods.
Okay.
And maybe, it's probably a logistical reason that I just don't know. Is there a reason they're not at the other end of the street, up by Eli's, pointing back towards and into campus, which will catch some neighborhoods, but would put more of the noise back into the campus area?
Well, I don't think it's been purposeful that they've been
I don't
pointing
think
in that
I'm just
direction.
curious if it was logistic or what.
I think what you're going to find is they want to be set up underneath the lights now, which is on that south side. And then also, if you had to put the speakers on the north side, you're going to be running those cords all the way around at times, and it could become trip hazards as
So
well.
there's no power up by Eli's and that.
You'd still have to plug into where the band would play, I believe.
Oh, I was thinking the whole band and everything would shoot the other direction.
I guess it's a possibility. We actually talked about it at the Taste because we had two different bands that actually set up right behind each other, and we said, why don't we set up one down there and they play, and then when they're done, then people just turn around and they hear the other one. I think it's more ambiance of the lights, to be honest.
Okay. I don't know if we got any complaints over the noise in the past.
I haven't noticed it, you know, because a lot of times I'm up there later, and I haven't really noticed a noise problem with the band there on Indiana Street. So,
I think it was a great event last time. It was a lot of fun, and I hope they're able to stage it so it's both community and DePaul, because
Yeah,
it was certainly a lot of fun out there last time.
I agree.
so we have both a street closure request and a noise ordinance waiver request. I'll entertain a motion to approve both of those.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, Brian, next up is for Farmers Market.
Yeah, and we're actually, it's probably over by now, but the farmer's market initial meeting was happening right now. And my market managers were taking care of that. They do a nice job. But the rooms, we used the foundation, we used the basement, and it was a standing room only. There was about 55 people in that room, so that was really great. I can't promise they're all gonna come, but it's a good start. It was bigger than last year. So we're asking for the, every Saturday from May 5th to October 6th. And we're asking for the roads that are Indiana Street from Washington to Franklin, and then from Franklin Street from Indiana to 231, that same L shape that we've done for a couple of years now. I know that when Music Fest comes in, sometimes they'll ask us to move, and if they decide to do Music Fest and they ask us to move, we'll be more than happy to move. Come and ask permission, we'll just go across to Indiana Street like we did last year, not a problem. And we're asking from 7 a.m. to noon. The market this year, unless they changed their minds while I was here, it's actually going to run from 9 to noon. We tried going from 8 last year to noon, and we also tried going from 8 to 1 o'clock. We thought we'd hit up some of the people who hit the bank late and they're doing some last minute shopping, but there was just a dead zone after 12 o'clock. So it'll be from 9 to 12.
Bank needs to stay open longer.
I think if Stacy could keep the bank open longer, it'd be best, yes.
Why don't we just add the amendment now that if you need to move, you can close?
Okay.
I would make that motion, kind of going along with Dave's idea that we work together on things. If we need to make an adjustment, we just put it in there now,
Or we can do that administratively, too.
just so you don't have to come back.
Okay, yeah, and it would be the last Saturday in August is when that happens.
Brian, is there any thought to getting portable Jiffy Johns or porta pots out there for the farmer's market? Because I do know that everybody comes to the bank,
Right.
which it hasn't really been an issue, but has it ever been talked about?
To the best of my knowledge, it's never been talked about. I've been doing it for a year. We didn't bring it up last year.
Yeah.
So if it gets to be the problem for the businesses, and we can always survey the businesses, to see if it is an issue, and if it is, then we can get one out there, not a problem. And after First Fridays, there's usually one sitting out there anyway for that next market, but yeah.
I'll say we have asked special event people, special events for closures to provide those. It would seem just keeping in the same policy if we ask the farmer's market to do the same thing.
I just know every year we have more and more traffic using the restrooms, and
Yeah, my guess is you guys get some of the brunt of it, and then I would guess that Starbucks actually gets even a larger brunt of it, probably. And if you want us to have one out there, we're not opposed to it. We can just have them deliver one every Saturday from 7 to 12 o'clock. So wouldn't be a problem.
You said you're gonna bring us some recommendations on that anyway, right?
Going to bring you some recommendations on that, and then listening. I think it's great, the second Saturday thing, and it may be something that we need to work with maybe Main Street to sit back and say, put the calendar together for everybody, and they deal with, it's alumni weekend, so we need to move it to a different location. Maybe Main Street and the chamber need to work on that, and it takes it off the city for having to deal with that side of the world, because we'll know the events that are happening down there typically. So that makes sense.
I think if you do the porta pot, I would just request maybe, work with the downtown businesses to find a location that's not in plain sight, right? I don't know that I like the idea of there being a porta pot downtown every Saturday for 4 months, but.
We could use composting pots and be really very organic.
I think with that, the discussion's moved.
Brian, let me do a little research and find out from a business standpoint how serious they are about it being a problem. It could be that we could just reevaluate it next year, so I'll ask some questions and get back to you.
My hope is the farmer's market gets big enough in another year or two that we'll have to have one out there.
There are some communities that I've visited over the years that, as they've developed downtown venues for events, they have actually a small restroom facility that's, maintained by the public. It's not necessarily open all the time, but it's open for events and things, so.
Seen those.
I don't know where we'd put one, but, there might be an opportunity. So I will entertain a motion to approve the request for the farmer's market.
With the addendum that they can move streets, I'll make that motion.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you, Brian.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next item of business is departmental reports. And I know Rod will come up to do some marketing for the Parks Department. But if anybody wants to beat him to the punch, you're welcome to do so.
It's pretty hard, he's already moving.
3 minutes.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Okay. You found my report. I placed it on your desk. I want to thank you for allowing us department heads time to discuss what's happening in our departments. Believe it or not, spring is right around the corner, so my assistant director, Aaron Ray, and myself sat in pool school today learning about updates to the Indiana state pool rules. So that's, in a short time, we'll be opening the swimming pool for the summer season. Our application, the announcements for our part-time seasonal help have been released, so we're taking applications. If anybody knows of someone who is looking for a job who would like to work in the park department this summer, we have we're needing lifeguards, concession help, and park maintenance staff. Update in regards to the We've got some projects that are happening in the parks this spring. The replacement backboard for the Keith Carr Memorial Basketball Court's in. We've got park benches, which will be delivered on Monday in the name of Glenn Baker. From his wife Nora, we'll be placing them at Michaela Kinsella Park and that. But I'm going to jump to a few of our programs. We have upcoming programs. National Worship of Tools Day, which is on March 11th. Black Lumber Company is sponsoring this program. It will cost $20 to put together a toolbox, but Black Lumber's donating the tools not only to cut and assemble it, but the kids get to, or people get to take the tools home with them as well. Makes a perfect Boy Scout Carpentry Merit Badge project or a Putnam County 4-H Fair toolbox project. Basic pottery workshop. We're holding this at DePauw in partnership with the DePauw University Art Department. That program will be on Tuesday, March 14th and the 21st. It is a two-part program. They'll be making a pot. I believe it's going to be either a pot or a coffee cup, coffee mug, and then of course the next time they'll paint it, and DePauw University will fire it for them. It is a free program because DePauw University Art Department is providing all supplies and that one's already sold out. We are taking a waiting list. Spring has sprung. Get to decorate their own flower pot, choose some seeds, plant them, grow their own spring flowers, all in time for, of course, the April showers. Scheduled for Tuesday, March 20th, 4 to 5:30 p.m. There's a $6 entry fee to cover supplies. Now the big one, or a couple big ones, annual Easter egg hunt. Please note this is scheduled for Saturday, March 24th, 10 a.m. sharp. We'll put 7,000 eggs on the ground. It'll take about 2 hours to lay the eggs. It'll take 2 minutes for the 7,000 eggs to be picked up. We put it in 5 different age divisions. All will provide something inside, and some will have special prizes. This event is free to the kids ages 1 to 11 at Roban Park. And then, of course, our annual Brick Mania Easter egg hunt, which will be held here at City Hall on March 27th. The program is open to the first, I'll be darned, 12 kids who register for the program, and each Easter egg will have parts for a special Lego Easter kit that the kids can put together.
And the website where everybody can register?
www.greencastleparks.com. So yes, there's that, and you can go through the city's website as well. We have a link to ours. But again, that's www.greencastleparks.com for more information in regards to any of our programs and registration forms and that kind of thing. Okay. I do want to announce that we are working with the Forest Hill Cemetery in regards to their Memorial Day 5K run. We're hoping to create a link through our website for people to pre-register for their event as well. Okay. So thank you. Any questions regarding anything
Updates on
happening?
pickleball?
Pickleball updates.
The court, is it ready?
The court is ready. We've had people playing on it
Okay,
already.
so I wanna hear it. That's
yes,
it. We're done.
That's it. Okay. It's one of the hottest adult programs that we have,
Make sure they have a place to play.
and they are playing on Rowan Park. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. I do want to apologize for any users of Rowan Park. The park has been shut off today, probably tomorrow as well. The main entrance is the initial start of replacing the 4-inch gas line through Rowan Park, and it's been kind of bottlenecked, so we had the park closed today, but hoping that we can get it open late tomorrow afternoon. Okay? All right. Everybody have a good evening.
Any other department heads want to step forward and say anything? Does council have any questions for any of the department heads? Hearing none, department heads are welcome to head home this evening and enjoy the rest of the evening with their families. Thank you very much. Next, we've got some reports. I had the opportunity to meet with the new Y director about a week or so ago, and so he is basically drinking out of a fire hose right now, and so he's getting caught up on our community center project, going through the files there at his office. The band shelter will be getting ready for construction here shortly. The financing is in place, and some final details are being worked out, and then we'll be getting some. I'm sorry?
Has the state approved that project?
Yeah, we've got all the permits and everything for it. And then we're going to be doing some drainage improvements there, so we're working on getting quotes for that as well. Our stormwater planning process, we have a staff meeting on that next week, and then we got an initial map identifying some problem areas. I'll get, after I get the staff comments back and added to that, I'll get that out to all of you, and then if there's anything that your constituents have said, we'll add those to the list as well. So this is kind of a first pass. So there's been a couple places that haven't been included yet. Wayfinding, we're continuing to move forward on that. Our street projects are out for bids. Bids are due in next week. And it's a little earlier than last year because of the Community Crossings Program. NDOT wants us to have things, have contracts underway by mid-April, although work doesn't necessarily have to start that early. And continue to see some housing development at Whispering Winds, several projects on DePauw's campus. Our sewer lining project is finished. The utility folks lined about 6,500 feet of sewer. And rather than having to dig up everybody's yard and stuff, we lined this, and because we did a significant linear footage, it turned out to be about the same price as if we dug it all up and made a big mess. So we didn't have to make quite as big of a mess. And then we hopefully be hearing some good news from NDOT on a project that we applied for. We're waiting for a potential press release to come out from NDOT that hasn't appeared yet. So we thought maybe it would have been issued during road school, but no such luck. So, and our staff did attend road school the past couple days and brought home a lot of good information to share. So with that, questions? Turn it over to Linda.
We have completed all of our year-end reports that were due on March 1st, so those have all been submitted and can be found on Gateway. So that's all done. We've closed out, or we'll be closing out 2017, so that's going to be in the history books. I will be emailing you guys the annual report. It's a lot of pages, so instead of killing a lot of trees, I'll just mail them out to you. So if there's any questions, you can email me, or you can bring them up next council meeting or that. So you can be looking for that annual report. You will also, if you noticed in the newspaper, the summary of that report was in the newspaper the other evening. That was our advertising requirement.
No auditors this year, right, Linda?
None yet.
That's good.
Okay, council reports, Adam?
I don't have really much, just the stormwater. I want to reiterate what Bill said. If there are places in your districts that are having problems with flooding, or you know of places in the city, now is the time to get those on the table. Literally now, like today or the next week or so. Get those preferably to Bill, but if not, Steve and I are on the committee. But if we can get those in, that would be great. And I really can't think of much else. It's almost summertime, I think.
I have nothing.
Just want to remind or give everybody a heads up. We will have a lot of visitors from out of town coming into Greencastle on Saturday for the high school basketball regional at Greencastle McAnally Center. I don't know how long they're going to stay. That depends upon what they do in the afternoon, but we'll have visitors from Indianapolis, Attucks High School, Lebanon High School, from Danville's area, and from Edgewood. And we would, hopefully some of them will stay here for lunch and dinner downtown. And so just kind of give everybody a heads up, we will have visitors in town. The other thing is I want to commend the street department. They were out digging, clearing out the storm sewers. they were digging with shovels and all, because over the course of the winter, some of those, at the grates, some of those have been pretty well blocked up. And I've watched, I got to watch a couple of them work out my front window this week for about 2 days at about 2 hours at a click. So anyway, thank them for their efforts. That's all I have.
Steve, what time does the regionals get started on Saturday?
10 a.m. is the first game.
Thank you.
8 a.m. is the championship game. 8 p.m. is the championship game. So they will have plenty of time to eat dinner and are in downtown Greencastle.
General Assembly's going to finish up in a week now, right? So not a whole lot important of things coming out lately, but I guess the biggest one has been sort of another sort of effort to diminish home rule with kind of not letting cities and towns regulate home rentals, Airbnb sort of properties. So frustrating.
I've threatened to pass out that when people complain to City Hall, they will receive the phone number for our local legislators,
In their personal cells.
their personal cells.
And they have our personal numbers. Let them have their personal numbers, see if they want to vote. Where are you? You missed the big news that came out. Well, you're the news guy.
Which
We're
one?
gonna.
Oh, it's the Sunday alcohol sales?
No.
No, not that
No,
one.
the governor even jumped in on that one.
No, yeah,
Trump and North Korea are going to have a face-to-face.
Oh, well, yeah,
Just
yeah.
announced.
yeah.
I have nothing.
That's what I hear your students are saying in class.
Yeah, I know. It's true.
Okay.
Nothing.
Just a quick announcement for families out there. The DePaul, for a number of years now, has hosted the state Special Olympics competition, and I know a number of parents have spoken to me about when is that going to happen. I'd like my kids to come and be supportive and that sort of thing. That'll start at 10 o'clock on Saturday, run till about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, then it'll pick up again at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning and run to probably early afternoon. So if that's of interest, wanted to put that out there. That's all I have.
I got to attend that last year for a little bit, and it's just great to see, you know, all the families coming in, the support they receive from the DePaul students, and do a great job. A lot of fun watching the basketball games. The kids do a great job.
You spoke to that last year, Steve, right?
I think I was at the, no, I was
I
at
spoke
the,
2 years ago. Somebody spoke to them last year.
I think you're,
I think Bill did.
Maybe Bill did it last year. Anyway, it is a great event, Dave, so thank you.
Okay, next item of business is approval of our minutes from the regular session of February 8th.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes from February 8th as presented.
I'm a second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
I,
Abstention, Linda.
Next item of business is approval of city claims.
I'm going to pinch it for our CPA on the council tonight. We have payroll of $405,970.42, and pensioner payments of $15,065.46. In direct payables, beyond the usual folks, veteran, Duke, and so forth, the only other notables are last month, Adam, you made a motion, Stacy, you seconded it to approve our contract with the Development Center, and that $45,000 annual payment has gone out now. We also have redevelopment, some RLR Associates at $14,091, land surveying at $3,000 plus, civil engineering at $33,400, and sign services just over $1,900. Those are the ones that aren't typical for those payments. When it comes to accounts payable, the significant expenditures there, the stormwater project got mentioned last month and again tonight, and we put out a check to Christopher Burke Engineering, $4,590. Our regular engineering service, civil engineering, 4840. Dave's Heating and Cooling is in for $3,000 for a new park house furnace. And Main Street Greencastle, the annual contribution for them as well at $10,000. And Republic Services at just over $23,000 of the most notable expenditures here. With that, I move that the claims be approved.
Second.
Just another comment on the claims. I was looking through them and about had a heart attack when our water bill was $21,000 until I read the line that says that's our annual hydrant rental from the city to the water utility to maintain our system of fire hydrants. So we have a motion and a second to approve the claims as presented. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Next item of business is old business, and we have the second reading of ordinance number 2018-1, an ordinance amending ordinance 2000-4, an ordinance designating stop intersections. This is a second reading, so we only need to read it by title only, but for the benefit of the public, this is to add, make the intersection of Franklin Street and Vine Street a four-way intersection.
I move that it be approved.
Second.
Second. I assume no one here from the public is here to speak to this or oppose it? That's it?
Is that, Steve, did you say that?
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance as presented. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we will send around a couple of signature copies.
Bill, how quickly does this happen now that we've voted?
We have to call in locates, although I think Brad did that already, but we still have to call in the locates for Holy Moly. He already has all the parts in hand to do it, so.
Pretty quickly.
It may be, next week or so, and
Great.
I think he had talked about maybe even trying to put up some warning signs because of different traffic pattern, and we'll work with Eric so that it's in the paper to let people know that it's happening as well.
There's two of them, right, Linda?
Just any place, I guess.
Okay, next item of business is new business, and we have no new business. We will be having the public hearing for Chiota next month, and so that'll be on our April agenda. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please signify your approval by saying aye.
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 Great, thank you.
Don't leave till you
Don't
sign
wait,
everything.
these are coming.
Yeah.
I apologize to the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, we didn't get you.
I should have asked you guys to come up and lead the Pledge of Allegiance. I apologize for that.
Well, they